I'm really excited to be here this evening to share with you some information that I can on concierge medicine. I just want to say thank you to Dr. Major Kincaid for inviting me to Dallas Mocha Med Live this evening, and hope that people will come up with some great questions, and we'll have some good discussion. Okay, so for all of those out there who don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Stephanie Cudjoe. I am a family medicine physician. I've been in practice for 8.5 to 9 years in the far North Dallas area. I practiced traditional medicine for the majority of that time, and recently I have started my private practice in concierge medicine. The type of medicine that concierge medicine it is called direct primary care, and we'll get into some of the different nuances there are in concierge medicine, but I'm really excited just to be here this evening. Hi Ori, I see you too. Hi, really excited. This is my first Facebook Live session, so if you're out there, please say hello, send me a like, I guess, and send a comment, let me know where you're coming from. Okay. So this is Concierge Medicine 101. Okay, so I think probably the first thing we need to do is talk about what is concierge medicine just in general. And the best way I can describe concierge medicine is that it is a model of medicine that is focused on relationship. So this is all about the relationship of the doctor to their patient, the provider to their patient, and the patient back with their provider. It is a completely symbiotic relationship, and in order to do that, it had to shed many of the characteristics of a traditional practice model in medicine, namely insurance. So I would say the first difference between a concierge medicine practice and a traditional medicine practice is that filing claims for insurance or having insurance's influence has been minimized, if not eliminated completely, from a concierge medicine practice. We all have been in situations where we've seen how deeply entrenched some of the protocols and pathways and guidelines can be, only to find out that they're really only developed out of an insurance company or a consensus statement and not really based on medical evidence. So if you want to get back to practicing just great medicine and not practicing guidelines, concierge medicine may be for you. Another difference with concierge practices versus traditional medical practices is that it kind of goes along that vein. Since we don't file insurance claims, the overhead significantly decreases. Hi, Renelle Lowry Burley. Hello, how are you? I'm glad you could make it. So the overhead, though, is really low. So if you think about your typical doctor's office, there's a big waiting room. There is 2 or 3 or more front office staff. There's an office manager. There's back office staff. There's medical assistants. There's assistants to the medical assistants, and then there are providers there along with all of the patients, right? So it's this bustling business. And why is it so bustling? Well, that's because everyone has to file insurance claims if they want to get paid, and you need help to do that. So if you're going to file insurance, you need someone to help you because you can't do everything. And so you need people, and people mean you need chairs and desks and space. And so the footprint of the office increases, your overhead increases, and your the number of patients you have to see increases in order to pay them and their benefits and all of that. So if you eliminate one thing, if you eliminate insurance out of that practice, then all of a sudden all those people are gone, and you're left with you, maybe a front office staff person, maybe a medical assistant, and your patients. It gets really simple really quickly. So when people think about concierge medicine in the beginning, Dr. Kincaid is sending me lots of love. Thank you very much. When you think about a typical concierge medicine practice, you may think about, the doctor to the stars, or, some NBA player's doctor that comes to his house. And that is kind of old school, honestly, I would say right now. The model has really changed, and it's morphing into something that's a lot more accessible to patients and physicians. If you know that the patients that you want to see are not in that, that upper tax bracket, you can still do a concierge model. You may have to change it a little bit to accommodate those patients. However, it's totally doable. So one of the things I would say with concierge medicine is that you have a lot more flexibility than to really shape your practice how you want it to be, and to figure out what's going to be best for you and your patient base compared to a traditional medicine practice, which is just, get in, see them for 15, 20 minutes max, get out. If you have another if you have another complaint, well, you're going to have to come back in, and and there's just, and all of that. So you have a lot more flexibility, you have a lot more autonomy in a concierge medicine practice. You just don't have other people telling you what to do. You went to school for how long, and you earn how much to save lives. You should be able to determine how you want to have your practice. One of the things that really, I think, opened my eyes to that fact was that one of my mentors told me that, when she first started her practice, her office building wasn't ready yet, and so she went and saw people in their homes. And that just for some reason struck a chord with me, and I said, hey, you're right, I can take all my knowledge and a stethoscope and a pen light and a couple other things maybe, but I can take my profession wherever I go. I am my own business. And once you begin to see that you are your own business, things get a whole lot clearer. Okay, so concierge medicine is different from a traditional medicine practice because it gives you flexibility. It eliminates insurance. It allows you direct communication and decision making with your patient without the input and influence of insurance carriers. Those are I would say the three major differences. Traditional concierge medicine practices, they're known for what's called a retainer. So a retainer is a sum of money that is essentially used as a entrance fee, kind of to get into the club. Okay, so if you want to be on Dr. Cudjoe's list of patients that I'm going to care for, you would have to pay a certain amount of money annually. Okay, and in the practices back in the day, that could really be expensive. And when I say expensive, I'm talking about over $10,000 for VIP access, essentially, to your doc. The patients that I want to see and the patients that I took care of, that's not going to work for them. And my personal opinion is I want you to pay for the service I'm going to provide and not just to be associated with me. So I decided to go a slightly different route and do something called direct primary care. Direct primary care is different because although it still provides VIP treatment and 24-hour access, it also provides unlimited visits, reduced rates for lab fees and radiology fees, home visits, all of that stuff, but for a monthly fee. So instead of paying a big lump sum just to get on the roster and then additional services would be charged separately, which is what tends to happen in a concierge medicine, a typical old school concierge medicine practice. A direct primary care practice provides it's kind of like an all-inclusive resort. You know, you have the band and you can do anything you want to on those premises. You have full range, you have access to all of the services available, and you don't have to pay anything extra. So it's wonderful for the physician because they're able to take care of a smaller number of people. I went from a patient panel of almost 3,000, at one point 3,500, to a patient panel now. I'm just trying to grow to a whopping 600. So, but when they are doing a monthly subscription, they have access to they will, they can ask you plenty of questions. You're not rushed. Your visits are just so much more enjoyable and effective because you're able to sit there and spend as much time as you feel and they feel is necessary to get their problems addressed. There's not a bunch of back and forth. You don't have to worry about, you know, miscommunication between on phone notes because it had to go through 3 and 4 people before it finally got to you. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So it's just become so much easier. And I know one of the questions was, how does it feel like being on call for, you know, all these patients all the time? Well, I'll tell you this, I don't get nearly as many calls now as I did before. And the reason why is, I believe, is because the patients know that they can get to me. They know that they have access to me. And so what a patient might have felt was urgent because they weren't sure if I was going to be able to see them the next day, all of a sudden they know they can get in tomorrow. It's no problem. I can wait until the morning. And patients really don't want to be a bother to the doctor. I almost have to tell them it's okay to call me. Please let me know that hey Nana, hi Rhonda, how are you? Wanted to, you know, you have to let them know it's okay to call me. They don't want to be a bother, even though they're paying a monthly fee. You don't get patients that are going to abuse this, you know, to abuse the system. It's based on trust. It's based on a mutual appreciation for good medicine and good relationship. So I will say that when you're deciding, you know, we're all here because we're interested in trying a different model or at least learning about a different model. I would say one of the big things to think about is what's your why? Why would you want to change your practice model? What is it about the current practice model that is not quite meshing with your style? What is your style? And then I would say, you know, then go through kind of the 5 W's, you know, where do you want to practice? Is there a market for a concierge medicine practice in the area? Some people who know me know that I've used Facebook quite a bit when toying with this idea to figure out if my patients were even interested in doing a practice like this. And so I put out a survey on, you know, what are the top 5 characteristics of the best doctor ever. And interestingly, the last thing that was that they felt was a priority was if I took their insurance. And so that really was the icing on the cake that let me know that I was going in the right direction. You know who you want to serve. Think about, you know, what services you actually want to provide. Not all direct primary care practices do home visits. I absolutely love home visits. They're lots of fun. Patients are so much more relaxed. They didn't have to rush to get into the office and deal with other sick folks, you know, in a waiting room. They're, you know, like this, making sure they don't get sick. And it's just been a wonderful experience. And so I want to keep that as part of my practice. And then, of course, you want to think about your how. How are you going to do this concierge medicine thing? So that goes into a lot of logistics. It's not something that you want to jump into haphazardly, but you want to take a look at your own personal finances. You want to think about, if you need to raise any capital, how you would do that. There are bank loans that you can use. There's, there's people that will help you. There, folks, friends and family that you have no idea are just waiting to help you if you just asked. So you want to get an idea of where you want to get your funding from, and just remember that it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect all of us, as soon as you come out. I'm subleasing my space from my mentor, and it's helping me to decide, if I want to stay in that area, where my patients coming from. If they're going to stay in the McKinney area, then I would love to stay. If it looks like they're actually coming from a slightly different area, then maybe I'll move to that area. But you need to be very flexible in allowing this dream to really flesh out. What you thought was going to be a perfect idea at one point might not be so much when you actually start to put it into practice. I would say also know your when. So for me, it was quite a long wait before this happened. Like I said, I was in traditional practice for 8.5 years, and but then when the time came, I was thankfully sensitive enough to recognize it and to jump in kind of in double dutch while I could. You want to get an idea. There's never a perfect time, but there are better times. So, you might need to look at your contracts. You might need to see if you want to take your existing practice and transition it into a concierge model. There are plenty of practices that do that. There are lots of different resources available online, literally through YouTube and LinkedIn and different websites that are just throwing out information for docs to start into the more entrepreneurship area of practice. Finally, I would say the last three things I would say is be sure you have a mentor. Find someone who is doing what you want to do or doing something like what you want to do, and pick their brain. They often have either done this recently, and so everything is fresh, or they will have lots of guidance on what not to do. But find you a mentor. I have a great mentor. Actually have about 3 mentors who've helped me in this process. One of them is Heather Fork with Doctors Crossing. You can look her up online. She is amazing because she helps you figure out what your strengths are, and what you really want out of life, and that's really important. Jennifer Zomner of Zomner Family Practice. She is my mentor from my previous practice, and also excuse me. Pamela Weibel, she's been so helpful with her books and seminars. So there are lots of other folks that I've used as for guidance, and everyone's just really helpful. I would also say know your worth. So I want to spend just a minute or two on that. I think it's really important for physicians in general to sit down and really think about what they do for a living. We tend to discount our worth as physicians and care providers. It's really hard sometimes to put a number on a service as noble as medicine. But we are in America, and we want to have this as a business. We want to be able to do this to help people, and so we have to balance what our worth is with what your patients are willing to pay for that service. and you would honestly would be surprised. The patients really do want to pay you what you're worth, but you have to name that price. And so some people do their concierge medicine where they pay, you know, per service. I personally like to keep as far away from that as possible. So I decided to do a membership or a subscription type plan so that everything is included. You just come in and see me. And I figured those prices for the membership based off of how much I think my services are worth. And there's lots of different calculators and things that you can access to help you determine that. My mentor, Dr. Zomner, she said, you know, think about a plumber coming to your home and, you know, fixing a leaky faucet or whatever. And when they're done, they give you a bill for maybe, you know, a couple $100. They spent 30 to 45 minutes there, and they don't bat an eye. And yet, you know, we may feel hesitant to put a number higher than a copay on our services. So just remember, those are copays. Insurance already knows you're worth more than that. That's why it's called a copay. So, you know, just those things to think about. Everyone's number is different. There's no set number, which is wonderful because everyone's services are slightly different. But that's, I think, really, really important. And that can really, I think, make or break a practice. If you undersell yourself, then people won't find value in you. You could be the best doctor ever, but if you're giving away your services, then people could become skeptical. So you help those that you want to help. If you want to do pro bono work, you can. But I would not make that the rule. I would use that sparingly so that you can actually feed your family. Okay. And then I would say, you know, finally just prioritize and start. There is a great checklist that I used when I started my practice. I don't know if y'all can see that. Can you see that? It's probably backwards, but it says master to-do list for your dream clinic. And it goes through, I mean, right down the list, what you need to do. You want to create your LLC, you want to find a space, you want to get some money, you want to change your address, you want to get a ClearWave certificate, you want to get your MPI number if you don't have one, you want to opt out of Medicare if that's what you want to do. That's a whole nother topic. You want to get you some liability insurance, some office insurance, you probably want to get an employee, and it goes right down how to do all of that. And I love checklists. I can post this if you'd like, a link to it so that you can have it too and look it over. And I essentially paired this list with resources that I found through LinkedIn, in particular Inc.com. They are a great resource. And also YouTube. Who knew? But when you have those like questions that you're kind of scared to ask, but know somebody else has it, go to YouTube and you will go and find all kind of videos. Look at the ones that are most viewed, cross-reference, but it gives you really quick information that is pertinent to what you need to do, and that you can find it specifically for physicians. We're not just talking about general entrepreneurship, pearls. But, if you're a physician and you want to start your own practice, this is what you need to do. This is how you budget. This is how you, maintain your finances. This is how you keep your money separate from your business's money and all that business. Because personally, I did not go to business school. So that was a fear that I had to get over. But using the checklist and using the resources, I am very resourceful, gave me enough confidence to just take the next step. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes, but it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is not brain surgery. You're just starting to practice. Okay. So now, I guess we can go to some questions. If anybody has any questions, I am watching out for comments. Hello, Nicole, and hello, is it Aiken Snillock? Hi, I hope I didn't mess up your name, but hello, thanks for watching. Does anyone have any questions about concierge medicine or starting their own practice? Or send me a comment. Let me know what specialties are tuning in. I'm family medicine. Are there any? I know we have a dermatologist. I know we have an ER physician. I do. Okay, so Nena AO asked if I offer telemedicine, and I do. With my model, I am able to provide all kinds of teleservices. So my EMR actually is Atlas MD, and it allows for text messaging. It also allows for Skype. They actually have an interface where I can do a Skype-like visit on my computer, on my laptop. And then it actually, for like text messages and email, it will record those and directly input it into the chart, so I don't have to double chart. It's so nice, so nice. Hi, Aiken. Okay, Aiken is family medicine and geriatrics. Yay! Awesome. You would be surprised, Aiken, how many geriatric patients love concierge medicine. They are used to that idea. They're probably the most familiar with a direct primary care model or a concierge model. They're used to the doctor coming to their house. They're used to having a very personal relationship with their doctor. The big question for you would probably be, do you want to stay in with Medicare or not? I would say it's your choice. But, if you're going into this model, it's usually because you don't want someone else telling you what to do, per se. And so there are ways, if you're, creative, that you can figure out with your patient base, how to make that work. Medicare does pay for home visits, if that's something that you're interested in. But you just have to be, just so careful about how you document and making sure that you have all of your I's dotted and all of your T's crossed. So if that's something that you're thinking about, that would be really, really cool. So I'm not sure who that is. Let's see. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just got a little distracted. Does anyone else have any questions about concierge medicine? Just gonna look up. There are a lot of YouTube videos by Josh Umber with Atlas MD. He is one of the leading kind of spokespersons for direct primary care, which is the type of model that I'm practicing. So if you're interested in like subscription medicine, then that would probably be a great person to look up on YouTube. Okay, Nena AO wanted to know if a patient is particularly savvy about maximizing their membership, a la seeking daily calls or visits, do you charge extra? So the definition would be no, but I will tell you that that's where it comes into play, pricing yourself correctly. So the patients that value your time and won't do that. They won't do that. And when I see a patient, it's an unhurried visit. We're coming in, we're chatting. I know about their family. They're telling me the backstory, and so by the time they finish that visit, they are completely satisfied with that visit. I then also give them a visit summary by the next day to let them know this is what we talked about, this is the plan. And really the only time, I've had patients, call a couple times is if they really have something actively going on that I need to know about. So I haven't had anyone try to like abuse the plan or anything. And I think that's because that demographic has been priced out. Those who really see a value won't abuse a membership plan. But that's like saying, can somebody abuse a gym membership if they go every day? No, the whole point is for them to have access, right? So if you're going to do this practice, you have to be willing to make yourself available. And when they know that you're available and they know that they can see you the next day, many times they're not going to, harass you or do anything like that, in the evenings or after hours or whatever. People are living their own lives and they just want to know that they can reach you when they need to. Hi, Renelle Burley, an OB-GYN in private practice in West Texas. Hello. Hi, Irene. How are you? Does anyone else have questions? Okay, Renelle wants to know, how would concierge medicine fit with an OB-GYN practice? That's a good question. I think it would depend on how much OB and how much GYN would be involved. Maybe not so much a concierge medicine where you have, like the all-inclusive package, but maybe a kind of fee-for-service might actually be a better option, where you could work out fee arrangements and stuff with like the local surgery centers and whatnot, and provide them a significant discount that way. People have really, really high deductibles, and if you can show them that your fees actually save them money because they're going to be spending, I have patients who have $6,000 and $7,000 deductibles. So my annual membership fee for an adult 18 to 64 is $14. Well, if they pay up front, it's $1,425. Otherwise, it's $1,500. So to tell someone it's $1,500 when they have a $6,000 deductible and they get unlimited visits, all of a sudden it's a no-brainer. So you just need, just want to see, what type of services are the majority of your patients asking for, requesting, or is there a particular service that you would like to provide that's not covered by insurance? Well, then you might want to you could then probably consider like doing maybe a hybrid model where you had some, fee-for-service type things, and then you had some where you still build insurance. There's all kind of ways that you can do this. So Akin wanted to know, how many patients do I have? What do I consider a full panel? And how long did it take to build my practice? Okay, so I have been in practice for 8.5 years with a large practice, and I had about 3,500 patients. And I just started my private practice in direct primary care 2.5 months ago. It'll be 3 months in 5 days, and I have 69 patients. My full panel is my first goal is to get to 300. If I get to 450, I'm probably going to be looking for another doc to hire on. 600, I would be maxed out. That's pretty much for a direct primary care practice. 600 is kind of the given consensus. That's enough patients to be able to provide the service that you really want to give to them. You have to be available. So that's more than enough. That's more than enough on a subscription model to pay for your bills and take care of your family. Hi, Irene. Irene wants to know, how do I market myself and how do you retain your patients? Okay, well, First, I have been blessed to be able to practice medicine in the same area for a long time. I was also blessed with a whole lot of patience, such that I did not have a non-compete. So I used Facebook a lot, and I used LinkedIn a lot. The neighborhood mommy boards are amazing. You'd be surprised. Frisco and McKinney are really big, small towns, and word gets around really quickly. When I made my transition, it was a little bit more abrupt than I would have liked. So a lot of patients were actually out. They told me they were out looking for me, out on social media, and once they found me, they started talking. And so I put out, I'm doing, for example, this to kind of get practice and to share the model with other docs who are interested. I write articles. I have one in MD Magazine. I have one on Kevin MD. I have some on the Baylor website. And so I just kind of, just start putting your name out there. Another way that would be really great to market yourself is with the local chambers. So I'm a member of the McKinney Chamber of Commerce, and you get to meet a lot of entrepreneurs there, many of whom need docs. Everybody needs a doc. If you're doing concierge medicine, that is a niche that you would definitely want to target, because self-employed patients and small business owners many times have super high deductibles, and they may put their health aside, but if they know that they have access to a doctor like this, then they would really, they've been one of my, I would say, biggest growing demographics so far. I retain my patients because they love me. I'm super nice, and I like to smile a lot, and I stay excited, and I stay engaged with them, and they just know that it's genuine, that I love what I do. Patients are not fooled. If you are in this to make money, they will see right through it, and they will go out the door. You have to do concierge medicine because you believe in the value of a doctor-patient, patient-doctor relationship. If you do not, it will come across very quickly the first time you don't answer the phone when a patient who needs you calls. Okay? And you do not want that word getting out. So you want to be attentive. You want to be responsive. You don't have to be super fancy at all. You just have to, just be genuine and practice good medicine. That's what they want. A genuine doctor who practices good medicine. You do that, patients will stay with you. Anyone else have questions? This is so exciting. I'm having a great time. I hope this has been helpful. How much time, okay, Irene wants to know, how much time do I spend with each patient? It depends. If I'm doing a home visit, I usually set aside an hour, honestly. Just because it takes a little bit more time to kind of get everything set up the way I want it. But I usually spend a minimum of 30 minutes with a patient. I've spent, for those that are really complex, I might spend an hour and up to an hour and a half. I think is the longest that I spent with a patient, but she was very, very complicated. But, it's me and her, and there's no other interruptions. So you don't have that many patients, so you don't have a lot of interruptions. Yes, it is 24 hours accessibility. I think the latest, though, that I've gotten a call so far is 9:30. So far, yeah, about 9:30. And it was for a patient who needs to go to the ER. So it was definitely warranted. Like I said, if the patient, they're not going to call you middle of the night for, no reason. If they call you, that it's for a reason. And of course, you want to to prep your patients, right? When you first meet them, and you introduce yourself, and you're explaining the model to them. You let them know, for urgent calls, I'm here. Definitely give me a call on my phone. Don't, email me an urgent matter. That's not appropriate, So you want to, you have to kind of train your patients on what's going to be the best way to communicate with you. And they're very respectful of that. Irene wants to know, do I see them in the hospital? So, okay, this is really funny. Yes, I do see my patients in the hospital. I usually bring them a little, I've had 2 patients go into the hospital so far. Both were super duper sick, super sick. And I am not a hospitalist. I do not do inpatient care. However, I will see my patients in the emergency room. I will help, I do call the emergency room to let them know that they're on their way and what I'm concerned about, kind of help direct them as soon as they get in, which everyone it's been very well received. Sorry, those are my girls. But I will show up. And both times that I've shown up to the emergency room on behalf of my patients, I was able to talk with the emergency room physician directly. I just have my white coat on. I don't have privileges yet. But they were very receptive to the information that I had for them because I know my patients. And so I was able to help facilitate them getting admitted into the hospital. And so the patients were so grateful. They were on Facebook. Their family was on Facebook that evening, telling all their friends, bragging about how their doctor just saw them in the hospital. She didn't have to, but she did. It didn't take any time. I was on my way home anyway. It was really awesome. Baylor McKinney. Hey, that was actually the place where I was. So cool. That's really funny. So, yeah, so it was a great experience to be able to advocate for my patients and, and be there. And it's just so funny, the looks that I get from the staff, and they're just like, wait, you're their doctor? Like, why are you even here? And you're like, yep, I'm just here to make sure they're taken care of. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they'll show you what what you want to see, and it's really awesome. Thanks, Irene, for your encouragement. I really appreciate that. I hope you can do this too. You need to talk to me. You need to talk to me later because I would love to have a hospitalist connection directly. You need to call me. Talk to me afterwards. Okay, awesome. Any other questions? I will put up on my Facebook. Absolutely, I will ping you. I will put up on my website. No, on my Facebook. I'll put up on my Facebook a link to the master to-do list for your dream clinic, and then I would also I'll also put some names up there, I think, on who might be helpful for anybody who's interested in learning more about concierge medicine. You can always send me a message off of the live feed, and we can talk some more. Okay, well, thanks, guys. I had a great time. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all your time, and I hope you'll have a good evening. Bye.